Welcome to the Hump Day Hangout podcast by Semantic Mastery, where we answer your local SEO questions every week at 4 p.m. Eastern. I'm Adam Moody, and my partner at Semantic Mastery, Bradley Benner, will be sharing his decades of expertise based on not only helping others, but running his own agencies and businesses in the space. If you'd like to join us live on YouTube each week, just go to www.semanticmastery.com/HDHO at 4 p.m. Eastern on Wednesdays. If you'd like to ask a question ahead of time, go to the same link, www.semanticmastery.com/HDHO at any time and submit it there. Don't forget, you can get the Semantic Mastery Local SEO Toolkit for free at the same URL. Okay, let's get going with this episode. Welcome, everybody. This is the restart of Hump Day Hangouts episode 527. If you're rejoining us, welcome back. And if you didn't know anything was wrong, then never mind. Everything's fine. We're going to get rolling into questions after we do a very abbreviated hello, but just wanted to check in with the guys, say hi. I've got a couple of quick announcements, some good stuff going on and things coming up. So, Chris, how you doing today?
Doing good. That's snowboarding till Friday.
Very nice. And Bradley, how about yourself? Staying busy?
I am busy as hell, man. It's holidays, so trying to get caught up with stuff but looking forward to having a couple of, a week between Christmas and New Year's. It's like a week that I'm trying not to schedule any appointments. Just, just try to get caught up on some like creative stuff and stuff that we need to do that I typically don't make time for. So I'm actually looking to do a slower week to be able to do that kind of stuff. It's
Nice.
much needed.
Yeah, well, we'll kind of jump into some of that. Wanted to say real quick for everybody, the announcements that I did have, I'm going to kind of do them in reverse order. The DHA training, Directory Hybrid Agency training, is going to be starting up again in January. There's going to be a limited opportunity for you to jump into that, and we'll be having more information coming out about that. But stay tuned. If you're watching the replay or if you're watching live and you're not on the Semantic Mastery email list or you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, you definitely want to do that. Not only for DHA announcements, but also for the great stuff we put out. We share a lot of really good content, and so I'm not making it up when I say you should definitely hop on, because we also send special offers and deals on top of all of the great content. So speaking of special offers and deals, we got the Semantic Mastery holiday sale going on. One, I just love the page, and I'll put the link in the chat, and you can go and check it out. If you want to grab something and save like 50%, then that's great too. But just go check out the page. It's always, I think, good for a laugh. So other than that, let me see. I kind of lost my train of thought here, guys. Anything else I'm forgetting off the top of your heads?
I don't think so. I think we're good.
That was a big one. Oh, I will say, if you guys want to check out, go to semanticmastery.com and check out the blog. We are starting to post some content. We are taking the videos we are posting and getting them written up. And I think sometimes that can help people with a little bit more of a reference. If you want to do that, by all means, just go check out the site, check that out. And obviously that'll be percolating up in search results near you in the near future. So I will grab the link to the holiday sale.
That's pretty cool, man. That's the first time I've looked at that. When you said it, because I was in the dashboard, because I had to do the redirect link and all that. And I just jumped into the blog and I see it. That's sweet.
Right. Yeah, it's good stuff. And I still got some work to do. I want to optimize it as far as readability, some formatting, and some calls to action. But content-wise, we're there. So happy to have that, obviously with the help of AI, but it's really just formatting the content we put out in video. It's not AI created. We're just using it for the formatting and helping get that created more quickly. And I think that'll be really helpful for a lot of people. So yeah, let me grab the link to the holiday sale. I'm also going to grab the link to the DHA early registration list.
Yeah, do that
and then,
for sure.
Yeah, drop that. And so if you are, again, interested in finding out more, just stay tuned. We're going to have a lot more information coming out about that that will help you figure out if that's the right path for you.
Yep. All right. So I can get into questions, correct?
Let's do it.
All right, let me grab the screen. Right on. All right, so this one was from Tyler, and I said I was going to answer it this week, so I highlighted it specifically for that reason. So I'm going to go ahead and jump on that first. So Tyler says, I received a message from someone that has helped me with SEO in the past, and this is what he said. I'd love to get your opinion on this. And I believe this is Tyler, one of my new link building clients. So I definitely wanted to answer this. He said, I recently created forum backlinks for a client, providing 50 forums in total. One forum alone achieved a reach of 17,000, while others also delivered excellent results. This shows that forum backlinks can drive significant traffic to your site if created strategically and on quality sites. Let me know if you'd like to apply this approach to your site. Yeah, I mean, forum links can still work. Active forums, like, I mean, think of like Reddit. Reddit is very much like a forum. You know what I mean? And Reddit gets a shit ton of traffic. You can drive a lot of traffic through Reddit in, active, what do they call them? Subreddits and that kind of stuff. Forums that are active, by all means, you can certainly drive traffic with forums. If they're active and, you publish a link, in a strategic way that sometimes isn't so spammy, you can actually get a lot of attention that way. It's difficult to do, I think, at scale or like in an automated way. It's something that is a much more manual approach. So it's not something that I would want to ever do, just because it's not something that we typically, we try to do stuff that's more scalable, if that makes sense. But it certainly can work if done properly. Have you heard about the Google Stack, Cloud Stack, and Podcast backlinks? These are some of the most valuable types of backlinks as platforms like Google Cloud and Google Stacks. And Google Stack, he means Google Drive. That's what he means. Our high traffic space. Well, I don't know. Is Google Stack a thing? Or high traffic spaces with billions of users? I think he means Google Drive. If we generate backlinks on these platforms strategically, they can be incredibly beneficial to our site. Yeah, well, Google Stacks aren't going, if he's talking about the same kind of Google Stacks that we invented at Semantic Mastery back in 2015 with my former partner Marco, under what was called RYS Academy. No kidding. That's when like Drive Stacks were birthed. was back in 2015 by us from Semantic Mastery with my former partner Marco. And those are Google Drive links, and they're still very valuable. Not as strong or as valuable as they used to be, but they are still very valuable, and we still use them. But it's not a traffic thing. It's a backlink thing, just to be clear. Drives Google, unless it's ranked or you're driving traffic to the Google Drive files, and they can rank, by the way, but unless it's ranked for high traffic keywords and things like that, it's not a traffic thing. It's a backlink thing. But Google Stacks are still valuable. We still use them, absolutely. If you're a link building client of mine, we still do stuff with Google Drive or Google Sites, sites.google.com, Google Cloud Pages. So we still do a lot of that too. So I agree that those are good links. That's not about a traffic thing, though. Typically, those are just about pushing links and link equity. If we analyze a website of million-dollar companies, you'll notice that business blogs generate the most traffic through such backlinks. These companies have the resources to invest heavily in such backlinks, ensuring they remain consistently top ranked. Yeah, I mean, again, you can do those types of links also. It's hard to do at scale. That's why, like, even my own agency, my white label agency, we don't do outreach types of links. They can still work, but that's like buying a guest post and stuff. What he's talking about, I think, is having links placed in more, very targeted articles that already are getting traffic and that kind of stuff. And you can still do that by, using typical guest post providers or niche edit providers. But you're going to pay very, very highly for those types of links if they're done that way, right? A lot of the niche edits and guest post providers, it's done through a lot of automation that they just identify posts and things that are relevant or within the metrics that they're selling you on, because that's how most of them still sell it, is on metrics and not really relevance. But if you do it properly, then yeah, you can get not only a link placed in a relevant article, which is great for SEO, but it also can be a traffic generator. That's the whole point, right? But those are typically very pricey type of links. If you're doing it at scale or with automation, they're not going to produce the kind of traffic that he's talking about there, if that makes sense. All right, moving on. That was a good question, though. Huzaifa says, what's up, buddy? He says, theoretically, if all the factors are the same, like structure, niche, target location, etc., will a site which only has a single super relevant link outrank the site which only has tons of tiered spam links? That's hard for me to tell. I honestly don't know, because that's quite a theoretical question, like a specific situation. Honestly, I don't know. If it's one really good link from a really relevant source, that kind of stuff, it likely will perform better than spam tiered links. But there's always, it depends. That's the standard SEO answer for every question, is it depends, right? What types of tons of tiered spam links? Yeah, but are they relevant? Are they not relevant? Like if they're all relevant spam tiered links, but they're just on low quality sites and that kind of stuff, maybe it might still be able to rank well. Again, it's not a test that I've done, so I just really have no way of. That's just, it would be speculation on my part to even provide a guess, and I'm not going to do that just because I don't know. I would rather get the one super relevant link than to spend a bunch of time and money on a bunch of spammed tiered links, because the bunch of spammed tiered links would need to be replenished frequently because they will be deleted and blogs that they're posted on get suspended. All that stuff happens with a lot of that kind of high volume link building stuff. But with one really super relevant link, that's likely going to be permanent. So I would rather have that. I stopped doing high volume links and spam links 4 years ago now, at least 3 years ago, but maybe even 4. I just stopped it entirely. I don't do it at all anymore. So I think it's better to have links that are more permanent, that provide a lot more relevance and have higher value. And that's what I focus on now. Next question. Is it okay to put local business schema on supporting location pages and assign the S3 cloud page URL of that page in the ID field? No, don't do that. Because if it's local business schema, it should have a physical location. And if they're supporting location pages, they're locations that are served from that one physical location, that GBP, right? So the local business schema should only go on the location landing page. It shouldn't go site-wide. It shouldn't go globally. It should go on the location landing page, right? For all other pages, I would put article schema or web page schema. But yeah, and then within article schema, you can reference the local business schema, right? Within the schema, if you do it properly, then you can reference the local business, but it's not the main entity of the page then. That's just a reference to the local business that, that location is being served from, if that makes sense. So I always recommend only having local business schema on the location landing page, putting organization schema on the homepage or some appropriate subtype of organization schema on the homepage. Then I do local business schema with the appropriate subtype on the location landing page. For all other pages on the site, I typically do article schema or web page schema. That's it. And within article or web page schema, you can reference parent organization, the local business, then add a lot of other detail like knows about, mentions, all those types of things. So I only put local business schema on the location landing page, period. Next question. What's the best way to build a single location site? One page site with home pages, location landing page? No. With all the service page content, it would be very long, or separate enter pages as location page with separate service pages. Home page is location landing page, but separate service pages. No, I like the homepage now to be literally just about the brand more than anything, in the broadest terms possible. I talk about this all the time, but you should be stating in a semantic triplet format, right? So it's subject, object, predicate. Essentially, it's who you are, what you do, where you do it, in the broadest terms possible on the homepage. The homepage should be about the brand, full stop. Like, that is the primary thing the homepage should be about, the brand. That's it. Then you add a page that would have services, or you have separate service pages for each service, which is perfectly okay. Depending on how, I would have at least one top level page for each service category. Like in the tree service industry, it's one category, one service category, tree service, right? So all of the services all fall under that one service category. So I just have separate service pages. In fact, the homepage is optimized typically for the top level service category, which is tree service, because we say the company name, tree service, and then the broadest area in which it provides its services, which is going to be the broadest location entity that is all inclusive of the locations within the service area. Sometimes that's a county. That's what I've been doing most recently. Those hyperlocal sites tend to perform best. But you can also do it at a regional level. So it could be, again, whatever the broadest location entity is, should be referenced on the homepage, because you want to make that semantic triplet statement declaring who you are, what you do, where you do it. It's entity association, but leading with the brand on the homepage, full stop. Again, guys, I can't stress this enough, because I do audits all the time, even from mastermind members and people that have bought multiple audits from me, and then they ask me to re-audit something months down the road, and I look at it and they've rearranged the titles again to where they're leading with a keyword on the homepage. Why would you do that? It's the homepage of the branded website. So anyways, back to the question, I would have a homepage that's optimized for the brand and who you are, what you do, where you do it, in broadest terms possible. Then an inner page for the service or services right? If you have multiple service categories, you have a top level page for each service category. And then if there's multiple supporting services for each supporting or each service category, then those can be as child pages within those service categories, if that makes sense, right? And then I would have location pages. If it's a single location, then I would just optimize each of the service pages for service times location. Does that make sense? Like what I tell you guys not to do all the time when it's local sites where it's a service area business with a GBP means it's going to have a dedicated location. Like in other words, it has a physical, it's the Google business profile and the business itself resides in one location. That would be the page that you would optimize for the location landing page. Then all of the other areas or locations within the service area would each get their own dedicated location page as a supporting location page. But that's when I tell you guys not to put any location modifier in the SEO title of the service pages, because that service should be available to all of those locations. So you want to leave it location neutral and make an association between the service and all of the locations through internal links, both from the service page to all of the location pages that service is available to. And then from each location page, it has an internal link element or link block that lists and links to all of the services that are available at that location. So you understand what I typically recommend for a multi-location, or excuse me, a service area business where there's location pages on the site instead of it being a single location business, right? In other words, they're trying to target multiple locations. Even if they only have a single physical location, it's a service area business, so they have multiple location pages on the site. So therefore, you want to do association through internal links. So the services would be left location neutral, if that's clear. And then you would optimize each of the location pages for the top level category, topic and category, right? I call that category and topic optimization. Talked about that dozens and if not hundreds of times on this. So I'm not going to repeat that. But in this case, if it's a single location business that only serves one city, one town, one area, right? Then if you have separate service pages, it can be service times city for each service times that one city. You understand? And I would, as long as they're not competing, that's why I would still optimize for top level categories and topics, right? Which is entity optimization. Categories, Google business categories, topics is Wikipedia topics or entities. And so if you do that, top level service pages with only top level service entities, essentially, times city modifier for each one of those, then they won't compete with each other. See what I'm saying? It's when you have stuff that is competitive, competing that, like for example, roof repair and roof replacement both fall under roof maintenance, right? And so again, having multiple pages on the site that are similar terms that could have been all consolidated under one page that's optimized properly at the entity level, so the category and topic level, so that then that one page can rank for all those different search queries that are related to that top level service entity or category. Does that make sense? So to answer your question, homepage, service page for each top level service, and then I would have service times city if they were, again, very distinct services that wouldn't be competing with each other, okay? Which would still be optimized at the category and topic level. But you just wouldn't have location pages then, okay? Next question, since you said service pages don't need to be optimized for topics and categories and instead should be optimized. No. It can't, what I'm saying is you can optimize for the individual service level, but I still recommend, like in my case, again, because I don't have multiple service categories, I just do a top level page for the primary services that tree service guys create, right? Let me just demonstrate this. All right, so I'm going to widen this up a little bit. So the services here, tree service is the home page. If you guys understand, that's what the home page is optimized for tree service, which is the service category. In this case, because it's a single service category business, right? If it was an HVAC contractor that does HVAC, plumbing, electrical, or even HVAC that has multiple subcategories, right? Like HVAC, underneath that, the subcategories, you have air conditioning, you have central heating, right? You have air quality, indoor air quality, right? You have those different types of like subcategories that go under HVAC. Tree service is very simple. It's a single service category. So I optimize the homepage for tree service, and then I have separate pages for each of those guys. That's what I'm trying to what I'm getting at here, guys, is you have to understand how to create the hierarchy of the site and the topics or the themes of the site, right? You have to know how to structure it properly. And then if a single service category business like this, then I can do what I'm showing you. But if you have a company, like again, just an HVAC, don't even say HVAC contractor that does plumbing and electrical, that's even more complicated, right? It can be done. It can be done. There's no question. But what I'm saying is let's just talk about HVAC, period. That's all they do. They don't do plumbing, they don't do electrical. But there's still multiple subcategories. Again, air conditioning, central heating, indoor air quality. There's three of them right there, right? That could be separated out. And so for that, I would have, if it was an HVAC contractor, I might optimize the homepage for HVAC, which is the broadest category, right? HVAC contractor, HVAC, well, HVAC contractor is the category, Google Business category. But then you go look at HVAC in Wikipedia, and that's the topic, right? And so I might optimize the homepage for HVAC. So that's the top level service category. But then I would have as top level service pages, air conditioning, central heating, indoor air quality. You understand? Now, what if it was an HVAC contractor that also did plumbing and electrical? Well, then on the homepage, I would be referencing the company name first, who you are, what they do. I would reference all three of those, plumbing or HVAC, plumbing and electrical, where you do it, the broadest location entity in which all of those service area locations are confined or contained within, if that makes sense. And then I would have top level service pages, one for HVAC, one for plumbing, and one for electrical. And then I would have subcategory pages or child pages for the supporting services within each service category, right? So then I would have under HVAC again, air conditioning, central heating, indoor air quality. Under plumbing, I might have, water heaters, piping, right, for pipe installation and that kind of stuff. Whatever, plumbing maintenance, so that's repair, right, something like that. And then under electrical, whatever else, new construction, remodeling, whatever, whatever. All I'm saying is that's how I would structure the site. So it's all depends on it. It's the standard answer. Sorry, guys, I'm trying to get back to here. Standard answer in SEO is it depends. So when you say what are your thoughts on combining multiple service into a single service page? For example, in a dental business, combining services like braces, aligners, and retainers on one page, while they can be covered by orthodontics page, but since we're optimizing for the individual service level, we would not do that. So the SEO title could be braces, aligners, and retainers, brand name, and the URL would be something like braces, aligners, retainers. Again, I wouldn't do that though, Huzaifa. I would do an orthodontics top level page. That's a top level service category. And then under that, I would have child pages, one for braces, one for clear aligners, right? Because that's the actual topic term. The entity is clear aligners. Invisalign is a brand of clear aligners, right? And then retainers and stuff like that. I would have those as child pages of the top level orthodontics category page, right? And then you would have a separate page. Well, now you don't need to. I would try it as what you're saying on a top level page like ortho. I would still optimize for the top level term though, and then have these as H2s on the page, right? Each one of those would be H2s on that top level page because that's the top level topic, right? That would be if you were going to try to do it. And by the way, I do recommend trying to do that with one page first to see because you would need less content, less pages, and you'll have less link building targets for the site then after that site's built that way. And see how it performs. If it doesn't perform as well as you would like, then you can always go in and add child pages, pull that section out of the top level page, and then create child pages, one for each, that would be nested under that orthodontics top level service category. Does that make sense? And then see if that performs better. But why start with more work than less work? You know what I mean? I always try to start with the minimum viable product first to see how is it going to perform. Optimize to the best of your ability at that level and see how it performs. Because if it's done properly, it may not need child pages. I don't want to add more complication to a site build unless it's absolutely needed, if that's clear. So that's why I said it all depends on the actual, and there's a lot of hypothetical questions, Huzaifa. So I don't like to answer hypothetical questions. It's better if we have, kind of a real world example to look at. But as far as, like I said, depends on the type of the site, how many top level services they have and supporting services and all of that, then I will make the decision. If I was to be building the site, which it's not, I don't build sites unless they're tree service sites, you know what I mean? But if I were to build the site, then I would make the decision based upon the specific needs of that client or that business, how I would actually build it out. I would always start though with doing the minimum amount of work required. So optimizing at the top level categories and topics, build the whole site that way first and see how it performs, right? And by the way, I wouldn't be doing this for the first time with a new client in a new industry because that's not how I operate in my agency, as I mentioned before. Like, do you understand? I would have already figured out whether or not I needed to have inner pages for all of this stuff or if I could do it at the top level, category and topic level. Do you understand? Because again, if I'm going to go out and pitch my SEO services, which might include building a website like I do for Tree Guys. I don't build websites, guys. We do offer Tree Guys websites, but I don't like to do web design and everything else. But if I were to structure a site, map it out for a site team to build, then if I was in this industry, I would have that already figured out, right? It wouldn't be like, this is my first time, which by the way, this is what I've been saying on Hump Day Hangouts for years, which is, first of all, pick one industry. And second of all, start building sites in that industry that you can use for lead gen or anything else so that you can start testing what performs the best. So that when you go out and sell your services, unlike what a lot of local SEOs do, which really have no idea what the hell they're doing, and they're going out and pitching that they can get local businesses results when they really don't know. They have no confidence in their abilities. They're not consistent in their quality or their results or anything else, but yet they still go pitch their services and make sales. But why? Why do that when if you go into one industry and you spend time building a few different sites where you can test the different configurations to determine which performs the best, then when you go to pitch your services, you have confidence because you know what's going to get the client results because you've done the proper amount of testing. And you already know by just having a conversation with them or looking at their current website to determine what their products and services are, you'll know exactly how to structure their site if you're going to pitch them on a site. Do you understand? So again, it's like I don't like doing a whole bunch of hypotheticals because my answer is going to be go test. I'll give you the framework about it, but always start at the top level and only start adding more complexity to the build if it needs it, is what I'm saying. So in some highly competitive areas, you might have to have subpages for all this stuff. But in low competition areas, you wouldn't, most likely. And so again, if you test these things, then you'll know. And then you'll know which site structure to apply to a particular business depending on what their situation is, their specific situation is, right? Are they in a very competitive market or a low competition market? Because then you know, well, I'm going to have a bunch of subpages. It's going to be more link building targets. So it's going to be a more complicated build. Then that's this price point. But if they're in a low competition area and I know that I can get by with a very basic site like what I do, because we target, hyper local areas. If I was going to sell tree services sites and SEO to somebody that has a very large service area, I'm going to build them multiple sites. No kidding, because the small sites just tend to perform better. Does that make sense? So the point is, I would have different price points depending on what category or situation the particular client falls into. But I would have a lot of this stuff figured out before I'm out there pitching my services all the time, which is, again, going back to pick one niche, start testing, and make that your niche. Make that what you focus on entirely so that you can figure all this out and build a whole business around it instead of a bunch of hypothetical questions about a bunch of different industries and a bunch of, it's too difficult. And I don't know how anybody does it and stays successful in this industry anymore. I really don't. Being spread too thin. All right, we got another one from Huzaif. So they're coming fast and furious. Any strategies to capture a high volume question keyword like X service cost and city? Should we add such content to the LLP or the service page? Well, I would probably put that on the location page. It doesn't have to be a location landing page, just a location page, because it's asking about a particular service in a city, right? I don't know. That's a good question. It's interesting. I've got some that I was looking at the other day. I'm not sure which one. I think it's some of my low competition areas. Let me just see if I can find one as an example. Looking in Yeah, okay. So here's an example. I don't, yeah, you guys are seeing my screen. You should be. So this is just, this is a low competition area. And this, it's this kind of rich snippet or whatever. And Google just pulled that. Typically, you're going to have a schema markup that's going to answer the question, right? So it's going to be in the FAQ schema, basically, that can answer that question. Again, if it's going to be city specific, I would think it would be better to place that on the specific city page, but maybe not. Maybe just go on the service page and then Google would just serve that FAQ, even if it wasn't specifically assigned to a city. I don't know. That would be worth testing. But just to kind of point this out, let me just jump back over to the main browser. You'll see that on my location pages, I do have FAQs at the bottom. It's like 3 to 5. Yeah, sorry, I scrolled right by it. It's usually 3 to 5. Okay. And I do those on the location pages, but I believe also we do have FAQs on the service pages. It's been so long since I've even built one of these sites. Yeah, see, we do. I don't know. It didn't fully load. Font was off. But yeah, see, I still have, these are general search FAQs without location mentions. That's what it is, right? On the service pages, we do FAQs that don't mention any locations. And then on the location pages, we do FAQs that have that specific city name in the FAQ, right? I keep scrolling right by it. It's right here, right? And some of them don't, but they should. That's my point. All right. Moving on. Bob says, I heard that you were able to rank a website using schema only and no other content. Is there a case study or a blog post about this somewhere? No, I didn't do that. There's been other SEOs that have done that for sure. I haven't just ranked a web page with schema only. I've ranked a web page that all it has is headings and subheadings. And that's it. It has no other content on it. In fact, let me just pause the screen for a minute. We can go look at that one. And that was just for a test. That was specifically for testing. We'll go take a look at that. That's why I know Google is not reading the content between headings right now. Or if it is, it doesn't matter. It's what matters is the headings. Headings, titles, headings, subheadings, and internal links. That's what you should be optimizing for local SEO right now. That's going to be this one. Okay, so this site right here is ranking for all these keywords. And all it is, each one of these location pages, like let's just pick one of these. We'll just pick Oakwood. Fucking Zootrix, they changed their stupid dashboard, the user interface, and I think it looks like shit now, and it's harder to see and harder to navigate. I don't know why they did that. They had to go fix it. Anyways, so you can see that this one is ranking. Look at that. That's interesting. Another featured snippet from that same site. This one is the site that I basically cloned the Bucket and Felling Pro site. That's where we were just looking at here, right? So let me just pull that search query up that we're looking at here. This was Tree Care Oakwood, VA. Give me 1 second. So I don't have a case study, but I'm just going to show you. I don't know why this goddamn thing there. Now it turned black. Okay. Tree Care Oakwood, VA. So you can see Bucket and Felling Pro, which is the site that does have God damn it. Try it one more time. This is the site that does have content. Okay. This was the site that I built originally. This is one of the first sites that I started building under high level when I kind of got the template all optimized properly in high level and everything. And so this one does have content. It's not much. Look, very little content, right? But I mean, that's it on the page. Besides, this is all the content, but again, it has some content, FAQs, etc. And in the service page, or the service pages, not the location pages, you can see that these are more thoroughly optimized with information about services and subservices, right? So then what I did was, as a test, I then cloned that site and I installed it on this domain. And I stripped all the content except for the opening paragraph, I think, on the service pages. So like the tree removal pages, let me show you. Tree removal, Bucket and Felling Pros. So that was, again, these were targeting the exact same areas with this site. It was a very low competition area. That's part of the reason why I used this area as a test. Okay. So tree removal is the service keyword on the original site, which is outranking. And this, I know we're looking at the tree care keyword, but we could even look at the tree removal keyword. It doesn't matter because it's the location pages that are ranking. So we'll go look at that in just a minute. But I'm just showing you the service page, a tree removal on the Bucket and Felling Pro site had, content about the services and the sub-services and in some FAQs. On the site that I did for testing purposes, what do I have? I have headings, an opening paragraph, which is, I think, 2, maybe 3 sentences, and then that's it. There's not even any FAQs on this, right? So these are just headings and subheadings, internal links and images. That's it. And there's this opening paragraph. If you got to see it, like, again, that's it. That's all the content on the page besides headings, subheadings, and internal links, right? And images, media. So that's it. And again, let's just go take a look at the page that was ranking. This was Oakwood. So let's go look at those Oakwood pages. So the Oakwood page that is being out, again, Felling Pro is outranking Grim Reaper Tree Services. Well, this site's on a more authoritative domain because I am building links not to this particular site, but to the Felling Pro domain. So and it's older, right? But this one's solidly number 2 always, or most of the time for all of these search queries. And it has basically that, again, all it has is that opening paragraph, which is 2 sentences, maybe 3. And then the rest of the page is nothing. Look at that. There's nothing else on the page, guys. That's nothing else on the page. But the heading, the H1, the heading, internal links, and that's it. Like, that's it. And it's outranked. And again, just steady ranking it's always outranked by Buckin and Felling Pro, but it's almost always in number 2 or 3 position. And it's just headings and subheadings. That's it. So can you do it? Yeah, you can. And I know other SEOs that have ranked with just schema. Right. And then another thing is, let me just pause for a screen for a minute. I'll show one other thing. Give me 1 second. Yeah, that should be it. Okay. I've showed this before, but here's an example of why I know spending a lot of time on all that content between headings and subheadings and squeezing a million keywords into it and all that is unnecessary because of these tests that I just demonstrated with on right now, right? I know for a fact that we can rank pages that don't have content really, right? Just through headings, subheadings, and internal links. I already know that because I tested it with this. Then just to kind of demonstrate it a little bit further, I created this page here that has, again, no content other than titles, headings, and subheadings. This is an H1, so that's a page or post title. There's an SEO title. Then there's the H1, which is page or post title. Then this is an H2, so that's a heading. And this is an H3, so that's a subheading. H3, 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 H2, H3. So it's titles, headings, subheadings. There's no internal links and no media on this page. We go submit it to Google. And we ask Google, what do you want? What do you know about this page, Google? Which topical categories did you identify on this page? What does Google tell us? Business and industrial, agriculture and forestry, home and gardening, gardening and landscaping, right? So Google knows exactly what this page is about because of the main optimization elements of the page. Not because I have 8,000 words on this page where I've got every fucking keyword under the sun squeezed into it, because that's what Surfer OCO told me to do. You know what I'm saying? I have very minimal content on this page, and Google understands what this page is about because it's the main optimization elements of the page, and it was done with proper HTML markup, right? Look at the headings. It's done properly, not using H tags for styling elements, right? Not having if everything's a heading, nothing's a heading. And I see that a lot too, where there's H tags all over the page, like everything's a fucking heading. Instead of just bolding and resizing text, they just make it headings. And so it confuses the hell out of Google as to what the page is about. This is proper. Do it. I mean, I think there's more, I think proper HTML, like usage of headings and subheadings, proper usage of H tags now is more important than it has been in many years. No kidding. Because again, Google is looking for efficient ways to understand what the page is about. Helpful content update. Get it? All right. So one last thing. If we just now go test this one page, for example, let's just look at this one that we're looking at here. It's about Oakwood Tree Service. Or actually, let's go over here and look at the tree care page. Let's look at that instead. All right. Again, only content on this page is that right there, right? Besides headings and subheadings. That's nothing else on this page, right? So I'm going to go back and just do a live test on this. What does Google understand about this page? Oops, got to hit it again. Guys see that? Google understands exactly what this page is about. It doesn't need to have a whole bunch of content on the page. So hopefully that answers that question. I don't have a case study, but I just showed you two examples of how I know that is the case. As far as schema, I don't do schema only, but I haven't done that. I haven't tested that myself, but I think Jesper's done that. Pretty sure Clint Butler's done that. Terry Samuels has done that. So I know several guys that have done that where they just ranked a blank page that just had proper schema. So, and check out Jesper's Nissen. I'm pretty sure he's done that too. He's probably got a case study on it. All right, moving on. Huzaifa says for LLGs, which is local lead generation sites, should we use our own phone number when creating unstructured citations? Because in the future, the phone number on the site will be replaced with the client's number while the citations will still show the original number. Would this mismatch cause issues, or would we need to update the citations every time we rent the LLG to a new client? Well, again, I've tried to, Huzaifa, again, in our mastermind, I cover this very thoroughly. Don't be building branded and supporting assets for LLG sites until you get a client. Why would you do that? You know what I mean? And by the way, if you get a client and you build branded and supporting assets for the client and then they cancel at some point or they quit or whatever, then you're going to have to rebrand if you're rebranding that or excuse me, keeping the same site and all of that under the brand. What I do with LLG sites is they're only renting them, right? And so I don't build branded and supporting assets for the LLG sites. There's not a need to. The LLG sites are specifically to rank organically for the keywords in their, or, with products or services in their own local, in a specific local area. And then once you have it, I like to use it as a sales tool to help sell my services to businesses in that area because I can point to it. Look, I'm already outranking you for your own products and services in your own area. I can do this for you. And if you sign up with me, then I'll assign this site to you or any of the leads generated from this site, which is why I recommend using an 800 number, right? Now I've got a lot of Felling Pro sites now that were GBPs that are either been rebranded or are in the process of being rebranded to Felling Pro. So a lot of them have unique phone numbers, but a lot of these have just an 800 number, right? So that's this 800 number that is common or unique to, or excuse me, it's common to most of my LLG sites. All right. And then that 800 number, if that 800 number is common to the Felling Pro brand. But that's what, just why make more work for yourself, Huzaifa? I don't understand. Again, it's like going back to the question about, look, I'm just saying, with LLG sites, I don't build branded and supporting assets for them. Some of my own sites I do because I have a GBP associated with them. But the ones that don't have any GBPs, I'm not going out and building all that other stuff once I get the site ranked, then I'm going to use that site. It doesn't have to be fully ranked either, just partially ranked. And then I'm going to use that as a sales tool to pitch my services to companies in that area, right? And then once I land the client, then I'll determine what I'm going to do with that site. Because if I land the client, by the way, if I'm going to build branded and supporting assets for the Felling Pro site, then I'm still going to use generic data so that in the event that the client leaves or decides they don't want that site anymore, I don't have to go through the hassle of updating everything, which is why I'm still going to use generic data. Through the Felling Pro sub account, I can create a local number, right? A Twilio local number so that I can replace the 800 number with a dedicated number to this particular LLG site that I can then, if I wanted to build branded and supporting assets for this particular site in this location, then I could use that dedicated local number assigned to this local account. It wouldn't be the client's number. It would be my number, even if it redirected or forwarded to the client, which I don't do because tree service contractors, I send my calls to a call center. So even if I were to build branded and supporting assets for this location, for example, then I would have a dedicated phone number that was unique and specific and assigned to this location that would remain with this because I would not be putting the client's contact information on here. I would have my contact information on here that then would be forwarded to them. Does that make sense? So just think about it to where you don't create work for yourself down the road. And also that's going to cause problems with ranking. Brian says, when floating a review widget on all pages of the website, or we have a floating review widget on all pages on the website. On click, it opens a sidebar showing all the reviews, which is 300 plus reviews. And this is 5,000 plus words in total. Is this bad for SEO since the page source codes show the words and reviews, and is this too many words for page one? And also it also repeated across all the pages. Should I stop showing all the individual reviews and just show the total number? I don't know. I've not done any testing with that. I do know what you mean though, because I've always wondered kind of myself if I'm not sure how Google treats that. That's not something that I've had a lot of experience with, Brian. It's a great question. I don't like it when it does that because sometimes we'll be crawling, you know, a site or something and it'll show, page that has like 12,000 words or something like that. It's crazy. And then I look at the page and that's what it is, right? It's not that the actual page has that many words, but it has some sort of scrolling widget that has all kinds of data in it. So it makes it appear that the page is, 12,000 words or whatever when it doesn't. And so I don't know. I don't know if that's good or not. That's not something I've done any specific testing on. I prefer to just show a widget that shows the total number of reviews, and when clicked on the widget, it would take them to, the Google reviews or whatever, on the Google Business Profile. Essentially, like, on click, it takes them to the GBP, or then right to the review section. You know what I mean? That way, it's not messing with the website. It shows the customer, the client, or the consumer, the visitor, the website visitor, all the reviews that the client that business has, and then if they're curious, they click on it and it takes them over to Google Business Profile directly to the reviews, where they can scroll through and read all the reviews that they want. Does that make sense? But that keeps it off the site. And so, like, Elf Site Apps has widgets that does that. WordPress has rich reviews, the rich reviews plugins that are good for that kind of stuff. I've used for WordPress sites exactly what I just described. Elf Site Apps is what I use now. But anyway, I don't know. I don't know if that's good or not. I'd prefer not to have all that additional content. Like I said, I just like it to where when somebody clicks on it, it takes them to the reviews that they can read, but that opens in a new tab and they can view them there. If that makes sense. Josh says, how do you book more sales calls initially to learn sales? Well, Josh, what I mean is you just start booking appointments for whatever product or service it is that you're selling, and just understand that you're going to fuck it up for the first few calls. Just understand you're not going to be great at sales when you start. So everybody always wants to, most people want to wait to try to do something until they think that they're ready. But how do you get better at anything? You do more of it. So again, it's the chicken or the egg thing, right? Like, you got to start somewhere. And so when and I understand, look here, let me demonstrate this again. We're going to run out of time, but I would like to demonstrate this. So give me a minute while I create a new image. You guys are going to see my awesome sketch skills, which that was sarcasm. Okay. So give me 1 second. I'm just, start. Let's see. All right, let's see. That's what I was thinking of. So we're going to say failure, success. Okay. So most people think that you are either God damn it. I'm not good at sketching. That was totally sarcasm. Okay. So most people think that you're either going towards success or towards failure, right? And so, you know, I'm either good at sales or I suck at sales, and I've got to wait until I'm good at sales before I can start booking a lot of sales calls. But that's not actually how it goes, right? It's really, sorry, let me get that out of there again. My skills are terrible. And my Snagit skills are awful. But really, the way to get to success is this way, right? If I can get this to work, it's not cooperating. Son of a bitch. All right, this is the way to success, right? You go through failure to get to success. And that's how it is in sales anyway, right? I mean, I would imagine that probably applies to everything. But I learned this concept when I started studying sales. And it was like you have to go through failure to get to success when it comes to sales especially. And so kind of when I got that concept, and I think I actually learned that concept, or that was introduced to me, excuse me, I believe through the Go for No book, Go for No by Richard Fenton, I believe. Right here. think it's Richard Fenton. Yeah, Richard Fenton. Go for no. Yes is the destination. No is how you get there. And I think that's where I was introduced to that concept there. Okay. And so when I say, in order to get better at sales calls, book more sales calls, that's what I meant. I didn't say, how do you book more sales calls to initially learn sales? I mean, you book sales calls by having an offer, right? What product or service are you selling? Develop an offer. And guys, the offer is more important than learning the sale, like learning how to sell. Because if you understand, if you craft the offer properly, it sells itself, right? You don't have to do much selling if the offer is right, right? Think about it, So it's best if you have a good product or service and you craft a compelling offer, and then you do marketing to generate the lead that then that creates the booked sales appointment. Like, in other words, you book an appointment from marketing and lead generation, right? Marketing produces leads. Then you book a sales appointment, and on the appointment you sell, right? So marketing is one to many, sales is one to one, right? And so having a good offer, and whatever it is, whatever product or service it is that you want to sell, and then marketing to generate leads for that offer, then booking sales appointments, and then just taking as many freaking sales appointments as you possibly can book. That's the point, right? I do recommend studying sales and training programs, watching YouTube videos, reading books, listening to audiobooks. I don't care. Studying is great. But unless you're willing to go apply what you learned in a real world setting, it's going to go one ear and out the other. You're not going to get better at sales by reading and studying unless you're applying them in real world settings, right? Practicing. And that's what I was saying is, guys, I used to hate sales and I got over it. And I got over it out of necessity because I wanted to increase my own revenue. And I knew nobody else cared about my revenue more than me. And so if I knew that the best way to do that was to just get over my fear of sales and start selling. And now I'm pretty damn good at selling SEO services to SEOs. You know what I mean? I can sell SEO services to tree guys, or market, not just SEO, but business building services to tree guys, because I've gotten a lot better at it just because I got over my fear. And it was because, again, it's just understanding that you're going to dial it in. You're going to get better through practice and repetition. Again, how do you get better at anything? You do more of it. So put in the reps, right? Go on as many fucking sales calls as you can possibly book. And that's how you're going to get better at sales. Period. There's no substitute for that. Okay. And guys, it makes all the difference in the world. I promise you. All the difference in the world. I'm not going to read that one. Moving on. We got 4 minutes. Andrew says, Bradley, I hope all is well. I'm curious if you noticed any patterns with the most recent core update this month. I have a few sites that jumped way up that I wasn't expecting at all, and I have others that were dominating and have fallen off a bit. Curious if you noticed anything. Cheers. No, I haven't, Andrew. There are updates they're rolling updates. It's constant, never-ending rolling updates. So I don't keep up with specific updates unless they were big ones like helpful content update and things like that, or if I've seen a lot of kind of havoc. But I haven't seen that. So, and I haven't heard anything from any of my link building clients or anything else. So no, I haven't noticed anything. I try not to get caught up in that, Andrew, unless I feel it's absolutely necessary, because a lot of that stuff, they're just rolling updates that constantly are just practice proper sound SEO strategies, right? And typically you don't have much to worry about, but certainly there are times where something catastrophic happens and then you have to, it's all hands on deck trying to figure out what the hell happened. But again, a lot of times, just with experience, you learn you have to allow the dust to settle from an update rollout before you really start freaking out and trying to make a bunch of changes and all that kind of stuff. Because a lot of the times Google will roll a update back a little bit, like dial it down. You know what I mean? Because there's unintended consequences, which always happens whenever they roll out an update. There's intended consequences, and then there's a whole rack of unintended consequences. And so they have to make adjustments to that update. And so again, when it comes to these kind of rolling updates, unless it's a big update that causes a whole bunch of problems for a lot of, big sections of the web, then I typically try to ignore it, right? Craig says, Bradley, ZimWriter currently has a lifetime deal going on. Is ZimWriter still a good product to use and worth purchasing? Yes, I love ZimWriter. I got it open right here. I use ZimWriter all the time. It's super easy to use. Matt Zimmerman keeps adding all kinds of awesome features, which I don't use 90% of, no kidding. I just use it for very basic like content stuff, but it's awesome. I highly recommend it. It's my favorite AI writing tool. Jason. What's up, Jason? I saw you in chat earlier too. Can you explain, JM says, can you explain Brand Expander, please, a little bit more? Yeah, it's just about, it's a very inexpensive service where we have a trainer that goes in and shows how to optimize branded assets, find profiles that are great profiles to add to the collection, to the branded asset list for any particular business that you're working with. And she goes out and shows how to find, Web 2.0 profiles, social media, all different kinds of sites, platforms that you can create a branded presence on, optimize their profiles. And that's what it's for. It's about increasing the branded presence, right? And expanding the entity footprint, adding nodes to the knowledge graph, right? For any business, which is the key to local SEO right now, is brand authority. There's no question in my mind that the key to local SEO right now is brand authority. If you push enough authority to the local business brand, to the branded location, because remember, it can have multiple locations, but to a specific location, you push enough authority to that, it will rank, even if other SEO metrics or elements of the SEO campaign are lacking. You can still perform really well with proper brand authority. And Brand Expander is all about simple, inexpensive ways to build brand authority that just, if you're just consistent over time, and again, it's VA work, guys, that is literally set up for that, for you to plug a VA into the training, and the VA just on a monthly basis will go out and update all your clients with the additional profiles that were introduced to them in that month as part of the Brand Expander ongoing training, right? So you're just constantly adding new nodes that are properly optimized to the knowledge graph for each branded location that you manage, if that's clear. And that's over time when you get I've said this before, but you kind of hit this critical mass or this tipping point where all of a sudden, because there's enough brand authority, man, the whole project just ranks really well and it almost becomes unmovable, right? Even to the fact where you can stop building links, and a lot of times the son of a bitch will just stay stuck, and it's because it's stuck at the top because it has such brand authority. And Brand Expander is a very inexpensive way to do that. Again, it's VA work. Hire a virtual assistant, plug them into Brand Expander, and have them implement that exact process for all of your clients. It's an ongoing thing, right? And I'm telling you, it works, guys. I do that for tree guys, and over sometime after around month 5 or 6, man, tree guys typically they'll just start ranking really, really well. And I attribute it to that. All right. All right, guys, we're done. Oh, there's Jesper. Shout out stage. What's up, Jesper? I was just telling people to go check out your I don't know if you have a case study about ranking stuff with just schema or not, but I assume you do. I'm pretty sure you do. Anyway, we got to wrap it up, guys. Any questions, Adam? Are you still on? Or am I by myself now? It's just me. Okay, got it. Let me check on questions, guys, and I got to wrap it up. David says, yes, forum links, and I still use comments. Yeah, they absolutely still work. Gorilla Grass, hello from the other side of the pond. What's up, buddy? I learned drive stacks from Bradley. David says, yes, David. Well, I imagine, well, you learned it from Semantic Mastery. Me and Marco, and for sure. Everybody did. Tyler, what's up, buddy? So that was you. Let's see. Syndication links are greater than spam links. You're 100% right. 100% right. What about in the transportation niche, like a party bus? So you would list the locations on the homepage within the content, then link. No. I mean, typically you can link from the homepage, but I don't. Like the homepage should be about the brand, really, in my opinion. Like more than anything, who you are, what you do, where you do it, in the broadest terms possible. I mean that. And then you have inner pages that add specificity to the products and services and the locations in which they're available. Do you understand? And so, you can put like a list to the location pages and stuff on the homepage, but it's not necessary because you're going to have service pages, and then you can have a navigational page for navigational purposes only that says like service area or locations or something like that, that then is a directory of location pages, right? I wouldn't put that in like the URL structure. I would just make that a navigational page for a visitor if you've got a bunch of location pages. Now, you might not need that because remember, the way that I teach how to build the site is that on each service page, you're going to have an internal link block. It's an element within the main content body of the page that has an H2, so a heading that introduces that element block of internal links that says this service is available in these locations, or this service area, whatever the service is, right? And then that's going to be H3 internal links that list and link to the location pages. Because again, it's proper HTML markup for headings and subheadings that also, because they're H tag anchor text, Google treats those links with more significance, right? Because it's a heavier link. It's more because of the H tag in the anchor text. And those H tags are H3s that support the H2 statement that says this service is available in these following locations, right? And then on each location page, you're going to have an internal link block, an element, right? That's an internal link block that are now H3s, or depending on the structure of the site, it might be H3s and H4s, but H3s that are going to list and link to each of the service pages. Again, it's an association, guys. That's the semantic web, right? Semantic web is how entities relate to each other or associate with each other. What we are doing is creating associations between services and the locations in which that service is available. And from any location, we're creating an association from the location to all of the services that are available at that location. And that's done through internal linking. That's clear. Okay. I don't have time to go through this. Omizi95, it's already 5 minutes after. If you want to post this question on our Hump Day Hangouts forum for next week, I can cover this more thoroughly for you, even a specific example like what you're talking about for a party bus. But I'm going to skip over the rest of your questions for right now, just because I have to wrap it up. Yep, just post that again. I mean, these are great questions. I'd love to answer that for you more thoroughly. By the way, we're not going to be here for 2 weeks, so you might have to wait till the first week in January. But if you post the question, I promise I'll get to it on the next Hump Day Hangout, and I'll spend a little bit of time kind of diagramming it out if you feel that if that would be beneficial to the audience, which probably would. So go ahead and post that question on our question form, and we'll get to it in January. Merry Christmas to everybody. Have a happy New Year, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, all of that. Enjoy some time with your family. Take some time off work, for God's sake. I plan on it, so you should too. Talk to you guys next year.